If you're looking to scoot around this summer, the NineBot KickScooter Max might be your scooter of choice from Segway. The G30 NineBot is a great scooter that you're going to love, and I have been loving every step of the way. We're going to go through daytime riding as well as nighttime riding and how the lights go, as well as going through the whole scooter so you know everything you need to know before your first ride. So don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, as well as grab this item in the link and you will love it. I will say there's no way you won't. It has been great fun, and now let's get into the unboxing. When it comes to unboxing this scooter, there's really only two parts: the scooter itself that's pretty much all put together, and the screws that you'll need with the tools that are separated to the side. When it comes to putting the handlebars in, super easy, just pop it in and then you have 6 screws. There are 2 on each side and then 2 on the front side of your scooter, and you'll be provided all the tools and parts that you'll need to get this all in and ready to go. So don't forget those 2 front screws. I did forget those 2 front screws, and make sure you tighten it down as much as possible. When it comes to charging, it's pretty simple. All you need is this cable, and you can carry it around with you and charge it wherever, because the main AC/DC power adapter is built into the scooter. Once you're plugged into the charger, you'll see your display showing your battery charging, and it'll start at whatever level it is, and when it's full, it'll just keep flashing at full, and it'll just turn off automatically. And battery charge times are about 4 hours in total from 0 to 100%. This may vary depending on the temperature of your environment. Basically, avoid extreme hot or cold temperatures. You don't want to leave it in a very cold garage as well. You don't want to leave this thing in your car when it's baking in the sun at degrees above like 100. I think it's in the manual, but generally make sure you're checking temperatures. And when you're riding, if you are riding in colder temperatures, your battery will be significantly affected, and you will also be losing some battery capacity while using it. I found this out the hard way and had to do a return and replacement, but that's because I am out here testing this for you guys. So don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's get on to the next part, which is setting up the app. It's pretty simple, and it's a great app. It has a lock button to guard your scooter while you're not attending it. Also, just know that there are firmware updates. You can do them, you don't have to. We're doing a firmware update. We didn't see anything wrong with the firmware update, so go ahead and do it. After you're done with the firmware update, you're pretty much ready for your first ride, but make sure you charge up your battery all the way to calibrate it properly so you have maximum capacity. Now moving on to what that button does, you hold it down to turn it on or off. You tap it once to turn on the light on the headlight, so that's how you get your headlight on, and we will be testing that further. You also double tap it to switch between Eco, Drive, and S mode. These all have different parameters, which we'll go through in just a little bit. Also within the app settings, you'll be able to activate walk mode, which gives you 3 mph speeds, tail light always on, as well as the starting speed, which you should change to whatever you really want to have it at. Don't change it to 0, because if you do, you might end up throttling at the wrong time and damaging your scooter. Next thing to know about is the latch that holds the folding mechanism together, and that's pretty simple. On the right side, it folds in and then locks in. You got to kind of push it down on the top. We're going to be taking this thing out for a night ride, and from there fold your scooter. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Just make sure you get that locking mechanism together, and once that's all ready to ride, you are good to pick up your scooter. It weighs about 45 to 60 pounds, something in between there. I didn't actually weigh it, but in general it is about that weight, so have a fun time. Let's get out on the trail. We're going to go through and show you this headlight. The headlight is pretty effective, and it will make people on the road know that you are on the road, and bright, easy to see. You will get that tail light, which you can deactivate, but I don't recommend deactivating it unless it is nighttime. It will kind of eat up a little bit of battery, but not really all that much, because it is not on unless you have your headlights on. Now let's get into riding this thing. It will not actually work with the throttle unless you have like 2 mph started. It really depends on what you have your minimum start speed at for your throttle. Now getting into the eco mode specs, the acceleration rate is 0 to 10 mph in about 8 seconds, top speed 10 mph, and max distance 30 to 45 miles. This is a great setting if you're just cruising, coasting. You could even have a drink in your hand if you are really good with balancing and know what you're doing with your footwork, but beyond that, the acceleration's not going to get you up to the top speed very fast, but that's okay. That's what we really expect from eco mode. It's really a cruise. It's honestly great if you're on a dock or going across a lake or right on the trail against the lake. Now getting into D mode specs, acceleration's a bit faster, 0 to 15 in about 8 seconds with a top speed of 15 mph and a max distance of 15 to 30 mile range if you're just primarily going on this setting. This speed definitely requires 2 hands, but you can get away with 1 for a little bit, but not really if you're pressing down the throttle all the way. Only halfway throttle you'll be able to use 1 hand, but I wouldn't recommend that either, and make sure you use a helmet because you want to be safe on these things. Last mode to go over is S mode, getting about 0 to 18 miles an hour at 5 seconds, top speed 18.6 miles per hour, and max distance 8 to 15 miles an hour. You're definitely trading off acceleration and top speed for max distance, but that is really nice if you're just cruising around and just messing around, not going too far. Also, the charger makes it so even if you do lose a decent amount of battery, it's easy to charge up, just got to find an outlet. When it comes to inclines, you're going to be having a reduced speed. Also, it's probably going to beat up the battery a bit, so don't try to go over 20% slope inclination, and with that, you'll probably be good. But in general, I'm probably beating up the battery a bit by going up this whole ramp and over this bridge, but that is what it takes to make this video. Next thing to go over is where to position your feet on this deck while riding. There are a number of different positions you can have, and we're going to be going over them right now. There is the standard front foot forward, back foot sideways footing. This is always good if you just want to have main balance on the back foot while having your left foot just kind of grounded. Next is the feet side by side forward footing. This will just make it so you have a bit of balance on both feet, much more like a bicycle with keeping your balance on both sides. Next up is the skateboard snowboarder style. Pretty simple and straightforward. You have both feet sideways while you're riding. Makes it a little bit harder at riding at slower speeds, but will give you increased turn radius so you can make those tighter turns if you want to. Next one is opposing corner footing. I like this one for swerving and being on the trail and just really riding it out and going back and forth. It makes it really nice for switching directions by just adjusting my weight on whichever leg I want to go towards. When it comes to putting your foot on the back wheel cover, I really recommend against it. It does not seem to have the most support to it, so be careful with that. It's more so for just locking up and carrying your whole scooter after you fold it, but that's up to you and what you do. Next up is off-roading. I wouldn't recommend heavy brush with a lot of foliage and fallen sticks and branches, but anything that's just grass or dirt should be fine. I tried it on gravel as well. Just make sure that those gravel bits aren't really big and sharp, but that's really hard to really tell, so I did try it on some off-roading here. You know, it's minimal gravel, but it is working just fine. Gets a little bit bumpier. Those air pressure tires really do help out with cushioning the ride. I've really got to say I like it a lot. And now we're going to go test it off on a little bit more of gravel, which, you know, it's pretty bumpy, but that's more so my GoPro camera mount, which is on my chest right here. But getting back to riding on gravel, it should be fine as long as there's not like massive layers of gravel which are sliding everywhere. If it's like dirt road with a little bit of gravel, that'd probably be fine, but if you're in like big patches of gravel, I doubt that this is something that you should bring with you, but that's up to you. I'm just giving you my recommendation. By far the best place to ride these scooters are the trails. It makes you feel like you're just in a whole different zone. You've been through them walking, I have, and many others have, and you just pass everybody, and it's just so great, so calm. You're just getting a good breeze, and you're just out and about, and I love it. They did reduce the price from like $900 to $699, which is a big discount, and beyond that, if you do want to support this channel, we'll have a link in the description below, so you can go purchase this scooter and get on the road cruising and scooting in no time. And beyond that, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, become a member, which you can't because we're demonetized, so go check out the links in the description. Other than that, thanks for checking out this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. And beyond that, stay elevated, keep scooting, and peace out.